Okay, so I'm almost out of gloves. Last time I went to Lowe's, they were completely out because of obvious reasons. Anyway, and I've got to go mail off some Patreon rewards. These are 8x8-inch paintings. And then we'll head to Studio Gallery to check out the latest show. All right, there it is in all its glory. Just up a little bit. You out there owning it. Okay, so errands are done. Let's go look at the show. All right, so the show is open to the public. You've got to make an appointment. You can either do that by email or by calling ahead. And I will link all the information down below. I'll put a link to Studio Gallery's website so you can take a closer look at the paintings and see the prices, etc. But what I'm going to do now is I want to take a closer look at some of these paintings, because as I was walking around, I was like, wow, these are, you know, there's some good examples of, like, say, atmospheric perspective or various other things. So let's take a close look at some of these paintings. So first I will start with this painting here by Carla Roth. And the thing I'd like to point out is that it's really nice, strong, simple design. And I like how she chose like a mid-value blue for the sky. What that allows her to do is get these nice bits of light on these branches, for one. If the sky was too light in value, you wouldn't be able to get all these nice bits of light on the branches and on the tree trunk. Also, nice relationship between the blue and some of these oranges. Nice complementary thing going. But just a very strong, simple design. And then there's this painting here by Katz. And we're going to look at this in thumbnail form so it's bigger. So we'll look at it here. This is a perfect example of, like, you know, where the ripples are casting a slight shadow on the water. It's a darker green, And then the other parts are reflecting the sky. So as you go into the distance, it's mostly reflecting sky. Then the ripples start casting little shadows on the water that allows you to see into the water and see the color of the water. And that progresses as you come forward to the point where you can actually see down through the water. So really interesting composition here, and the water was handled really well. All right, moving right along. Here's another, this one's by Brian Estell. He's been actually in a couple of my videos, I think. Great atmospheric perspective. So these trees in the background, which are eucalyptus trees, he's cooled these down, and then also they're a higher value, so they tend to recede into the distance. It suggests atmosphere, whereas the tree in the foreground is a lot darker. You've got dark shadows here. But then also, look how warm the green here is in the foreground. Here's one of mine. And the one thing I would say here that I remember having fun with was, I started looking for color shifts in the hills. And by adding this red, it really was, it added so much when I added a bit of burnt sienna to the green and started looking for those reds within the greens. Okay, what else can we say here? Oh, this is a really great design. You guys know I talk about like strong shapes. I really like this. There's no super dark values in this as well, but very strong design. Like I think these shapes it's very simple, but very interesting. And this is by Carolyn Lord, Fossil Fuel Relic. It looks like it's somewhere like Salton Sea, which is an abandoned vacation town down in Southern California. Kind of out in the desert. But yeah, I love the simple muted colors and the shapes. Also, a lot of nice reflected light underneath this canopy and along the eaves here. And yeah, just very simple, nice design. Really like that. All right, and this one here by Nate Ross. This is really interesting. This is a perfect example of like interlocking shapes, which I think is an idea that comes from Japanese wood block printing. And so you've got this big negative shape for the sky here, but all these little intricacies along the edges kind of lock these two shapes together. And I think there's YouTube videos about interlocking shapes. You can look that up. I actually should look it up and learn more about it, but just a really nice relationship between these buildings and this negative space here, or negative shape, the sky. Also beautiful light in this by Nate. Nate is also making videos. He currently lives in the UK. I think he's in London. And so I will link his YouTube channel below. He's been following this channel since the beginning. He's been a big supporter. He's a great guy. So I will link his YouTube down below, so check him out. All right. Okay, and this one here by Michael Reardon. This is also another example of a good example of interlocking shapes. Very strong, light and dark pattern here. There is quite a bit of detail, but notice how that detail does not detract from the overall simple shape design. And again, we have like these little details along the edges of the shapes that interlock them together. And the key there is that it adds interest in detail, but like I said, it does not detract from the overall design. So it's a very strong design, but there is a high level of detail, with cars and people. Like I never put that kind of detail in, but it works because, like I said, the overall design, the shape pattern it remains strong. All right, here's another example. This was by Lisa Taylor. This is another example of atmospheric perspective. Good sense of depth here because this island in the foreground, you've got, some warms on the beach. Also these darks, there's a bigger value range or more contrast in the foreground. And then the buildings in the background are simplified and also they are lighter in value and bluer, so that pushes them into the distance. So a good example of atmospheric perspective there. I tried to do that as well. Here there's like more warmth in the foreground. You can see like these rocks, the reds in the background are duller. Also like the hills, and then these hills way in the back are like just blue. This one here, this is by Toru Sujita. This is, what is this, an etching. And nice feeling of light in this, you know. I like these interesting shapes, you know, shadow shapes, and also just a very strong, what do you call this, linear perspective, you know, drawing the eye into the distance. Also look how, you know, the top half is more where all the energy is and the detail, and the bottom is more just, you know, a device to lead you into the composition. Again, there's so many nice paintings here. I'm just looking at things that are easy to, you know, like art concepts or design concepts that are easy to explain. All right, this one's by Wayne Jang. This is a night entrance. And the one thing I'd say here is look at you've got this complementary sort of, you know, the violet or purple and yellow complements here, creating light. That's something that the Impressionists did. But yeah, really convincing feeling of light here by Wayne Jang. Also look, these rocks are handled really nicely too. There's little bits of warmer, I mean, the value shift between, you know, these little shapes is really delicate, but it's also, not only is a value shift, but also, I don't know if you notice, the lighter parts are warmer as well. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments. A lot of people have asked how they can buy my work. This is a good opportunity. I have 4 paintings in this show, but then there's also some additional work that's that they have in inventory there, and you can view that on their website as well. So like I said, I'll put the studio gallery link down below. Anyway, stay creative, guys. I'll see you in the next video.